A very, very good morning to you. It's about that time we delve into my favorite segment, which is youth and politics. And I am Hilda Wadidi, and with me in studio, Salimia Watu.
With Kiprono Brian.
Anita Nkirote.
Yes, Brian Kiprono is a political analyst here at Y254, and is also a Jubilee commentator. And we have Anita Nkirote, who is the youth senator of Tharaka Nithi. And today we want to discuss just a few issues arising. Today we woke up to headlines of the 10.5 billion NYS scandal. And we would like to understand, what do you think? How is this possible? The previous team was not convicted, yeah? The previous team, there was nobody who was, the 791 that was stolen during Waiguru's term. Now we have a whole 10.5 billion missing in action, and we'd like to understand, because we were having a conversation outside and you guys actually have a lot to say about this. So let me start with you, Brian.
Basically what I can say is that there's a scandal that is already now out. And one thing I'll ask ourselves is this: how did that query come out? That is specifically, that means the government responsibility is now taking place. One, that means the new CS who came in place decided now to do the audit query. Doing the audit query, that means now before the current Professor Kobe, the CS for youth, public service, and other departments, decided now to have audit query. That's the reason now the unearthing of this 10 billion came in place. Now remember, it was already shouting by yesterday on Sunday. But now we've not got the reason why, how this thing happened. Did it take 4 years, 3 years, or 1 year before? Well,
according to the Director of Criminal Investigations, this money has been siphoned over the past previous, in a span of 3 years. So basically this happened even before the team was changed. However, the DCI has also said that they are trying to give us an explanation of how it could have happened, and they mentioned that the mid-level civil servants were not changed as much as they changed the people on top. So don't you think that's a very painful oversight on the part of the government? Why must we lose 10.5 billion over something they would have resolved earlier?
Maybe you can say the issue comes now to what you call the mid-level management, that is now directors, senior heads, or maybe supervisors. And remember, youth is one of the departments that has been funded fully with the reason, with Jubilee manifestos, actually, since 2013 to date. So
that's why it's the most prone to theft.
Now, being prone to that, that means that maybe the policies are not being straightened. And I'm sure there's one thing I told you outside there. Professor Kobia will sort things out. Why? I believe in her because since she was in PSC, things went straight to Public Service Commission. But now, let's think of now, she has got now this 10 billion scandal. And I'm sure President is not sleeping again. This year is not sleeping. As youths, as her, being a youth senator at Tharaka Nithi,
yes,
is an apple everyone. Even me, I'm worried as a youth. Now, from 791M to 10 billion.
Imagine.
That's a big chunk.
Yeah.
Recently, we talked about 5 billion.
Yeah.
But now, being 10 billion, you know, it's a big shame to us.
And what if it's even more?
Yeah. You never know. But let's allow the court to take its place. And maybe I can say one thing about corruption. If you want to understand, sometimes these things are not being said outrightly. I have, like, if you realize Ministry of Coordination under Matiang'i, under Amina Mohammed, there are some changes which are done slowly. Like now as we talk, most of the senior bosses, police bosses, have been transferred. The reason is to try and break the curtains.
Yes, yes, yeah.
The same thing is now happening to the Ministry of Education. Our writers don't write about that. We don't talk about it.
Yeah.
But it's now working. That means what? The bondage are being, like the reason why we have issues with TSC, Kupet and NAT, those are what we call the cartel being broken down. This thing is not a one-stop shop. So let's give it time, as the way actually the favorite quote by one CS Matiang'i, like when he quoted about the Solai. We are now trying as a country to progress step by step. We've been having issues, right? Even as we've been having issues, we've not been rising for all issues, right? But now there's a reason why we have the Youth Senate. We have now the youth body. We have a representative in the National Assembly for the youths. Now it's upon for youth to stand and talk outrightly about it.
All right, for you, Anita, I wanted you here because there's a comment the president made over the weekend that I knew Brian would be very biased about, so I decided to have you here. He said that oh, just actually, we're going to discuss the county government of Nairobi just quite shortly, but let me just first start with that. So he was giving some advice to Mike Sonko, and he said, instead of spending 700 million contracting companies to fix the collecting garbage, the drainage issue in Nairobi, why don't you give the unemployed youths that job? And many people have found that comment very disturbing. What do you think?
Yeah, I think the comment is disturbing, and we are at the point whereby the youths of this country are angry, very angry. In fact, I'm sensing an uprising. And when you look at even the youths in government right now, they are starting to develop their own niche, because they know come 2022, they are not going to survive. Anybody with the government right now. Sakaja himself, when we are talking about the 14 people who are supposed to spearhead national cohesion, and there was no youth on the list, Sakaja came out and said, okay, now we are not talking about inclusion. Now we are the majority, we are 70%. We are tired. If we are 70%, it means now we control the stakes. It means now, I'm sure between now and 2022, even a youth will come out, like Mothiora or someone else will come out and actually decide to vie for presidency. Whether they win or not, or whether they're rigged out, when it comes to now the low levels like MCAs, whereas for the governor's position, a youth may not have the funds to vie, I'm sure the MCAs will be young people, and these young people will send this buggers packing.
Okay, that's good. Anyway, we would like to discuss this demolition problem. There's a lot of small-scale business people in Nairobi County who've woken up to their stalls being demolished without any warning. Can you kindly tell us, is there supposed to be some kind of procedure or warning before the county government can do something like this?
Maybe what I can say is this. Actually, the responsible government is not national government, but now county government.
Yes, the county.
Now, this thing is happening across all the 47 counties. You talk about Nairobi, you talk about Nakuru, you talk about even Uasin Gishu, you talk about even Tharaka Nithi, you talk about Mombasa. It is happening all over. But now the point is this. Sometime, other things must be enforced. The reason is in governance. For example, sometimes you get a system, or maybe let's talk about maybe the small businesses being across the road. Now Kenya wants to open up the road. What's the next thing? We as Kenyans, we have an habit of even encroaching with the public lands. Like the reason why we had a recent, there was actually that railway accident, is because of the encroaching of land. We cannot even have a space in case it topples up, go to another place. Now let's talk about Nairobi. The Westlands issue and the toy market, the recent one.
Yes.
There have been, from the records and communication with the business group, is that they have been told in 6 months' time, 10 months' time, you need to have relocated to give way for the government to open the ways. We're the same people complaining about the county government and the national government for the issue of traffic.
So the issue is people were actually warned?
They all warned. There are letters. There were letters under the Ministry of Trade with their chairman and everyone. But when it comes to APRO, we'll say government is bad. At the same time, when I'm being pressed, I'll say government didn't take my beat. But if the government did the procedural way and everything, because the reason why, again, we have what called the court orders and the stay orders. This is what now confusing the government with the people's plight. I need to make it clear on that. Sometimes now you see like the one for Westlands, government had a court order to do what? To demolish, because the time had elapsed, they'd given them some extra time. Now the government was working according to whatever it's supposed to mandate to do. Because again, we need a flawless city.
Yes.
Again, we need, we see that sometimes they are losing the revenue. But again, there's a win-win situation and win-lose situation. Who loses now? The marketer. Now let's see, sometimes let's be adapting to changes. Sometimes you can get me, maybe I'm not having a vehicle, but I have to adapt to say, let me wake up early, take my matatu, I reach whatever I'm supposed to do. And we shall move ahead. The same way Kenya didn't rise in one state. We didn't have a thicker road. We had Shady Road sometimes back. But we had to demolish major businesses. Like you remember at Rosters, we had a big Nakuma there. Who knew that it would be demolished some 5 years?
True, yeah, that's what surprised people, yes, for sure.
So that's how the system works. Let's try to understand that system are working. We have the procedures, we have all the things. If county government of Nairobi, and that means that was a communication not with the current county government of Nairobi, but the previous Kidero's government. So can we go and see our papers well?
You also said that in Anita, you also said that in Tharaka Nithi the same thing has been
the same thing happened. I know the government is mandated to do the same, but I feel the problem is in the methodology. You cannot just wake up one day. You know, these people are the same people who are giving you taxes. I mean, they still pay taxes. I think the methodology in terms of private participation, there must be public participation. I feel even though you've been given 1 month notice, let the government sit down with the officials and tell them, hey, look here, we are giving you this deadline, though they will not comply, but at least when you feel involved, you know anyway you are told. But as it is now, if you have a 6 months notice and you know the government after 6 months becomes 1 year, 1 year becomes 2 years, 2 years becomes 3 years.
Some people never took it seriously.
Yes.
Oh no, okay. Sawa. But see, let's move away from that. There's this Rift Valley politics is trending right now. It's called the Ruto versus Gideon. In 2012, Uhuru Kenyatta, who was about to call him UK, but anyway, Uhuru Kenyatta and Ruto agreed to stand by each other, and that Uhuru will serve the 10 years and Ruto will serve the other 10 years. Now, in light of this handshake that Boniface Mwangi is calling handshake, in light of this handshake and the referendum politics coming up, now the Rift Valley leaders are worried. Can you let us know what's happening? Do you think Uhuru will stand by Ruto? And I'd like you to talk about the impact of the referendum. Yeah, because you mentioned something really good.
Maybe what you can say about politics. There's one statement. Politics is dynamic. The issue of Rift Valley politics and saying the uproar of the Rift Valley. There's one thing you have to accept. Rift Valley is the determinant factor in all politics since inception of the election.
Yes.
That's one fact. Fact number two. Apart from politics being dynamic, number two is that. Then remember, in terms of voting blocks, Rift Valley goes one-man show. If they support you fully, they support you fully. Let's keep an history briefly. 202. Who did they support? They were against Kibaki, but they went to one-man show. 207. They supported fully Raila Odinga at that time. 2013, the unexpected happened. People didn't believe that Kalenjin community will support Kikuyu community or a Kikuyu leader. It happened. 2017, the same thing happened. Let's leave 2022. In fact, I cannot talk much about 2022 because there's one thing. Now you're talking about the legacy of Uhuru Kenyatta. That's the reason why we are trying to get some shambolic things to try and do some wavery way to try not to give Uhuru Kenyatta a legacy. Then you cannot talk about 2022 from 2021 and if you realize one thing, other MPs are talking about the 2022, but William Ruto, the deputy president, is busy talking about what is the focus of a Big Four agenda.
Yes, and he's also talking about
that he's ever say that talking about 2022. Never. But now let's talk
But you see, you can't say that because we can all see through that. He's also talking about he's also talking a lot about the unemployed youth, but at the same time his allies and the people under him are the ones who are pushing the whole 2022 story. So is it because people are already fighting the battle for him?
Anyway, in any politics, you have to have your lieutenants. You're getting that? But so long as the word doesn't come from the master,
I see.
that is it. Like Uhuru, if you realize there's a pattern. At Central, there's some coolness. Why? Because they know they want to secure for their leader. Now us, is like a from Rift Valley, you get some MPs are trying to talk about that. But now you realize now the changeover of the systems. Telling guys, you know what, now let's relax. If you realize after it was the last weekend when there was actually a burial at Baringo. It was, but you know the top leaders, that was Honorable Gideon and Deputy President, didn't talk about any politics. They said we are coming for burial, let's talk about the Big Four agenda, and you'll see they were talking about now how can we improve health, livelihood and everything. So one thing I can tell you, let's keep aside. Normally, we can get, that's the reason why you could see even yesterday Mohamed Ali being in Kitale with one deputy president. The other day you could see maybe other guys like you see CS Omalo was in Kisumu on Saturday. So we are not talking about development. In fact, let's not talk about 2022 because there are much we can achieve if you attend first the legacy of Uhuru. That's the reason why you'll never see Uhuru Kenyatta saying, whoever I will support. For your information, you'll not talk about that because the dynamism of the politics can either agree for his legacy strengths or the weaknesses. These are the politics.
Okay, then we'll move away from that, but I'd like Anita to say something.
I disagree with Brian. He wants us to live in a utopian society and he's telling us about Central Kenya, and we know it's in TV every day. Ndindi, Nyoro, the likes of Irongo, Kangata, that's Murang'a County, and the different counties are already singing praises. Oh, we are supporting Ruto. Oh, so you're sort of lying to us. Number two, about the referendum that you are talking about.
Yes.
Maybe Ruto is mum because he knows the impact of the referendum. As when I look at 202, I feel like there's nothing new in this country. There's nothing new. 202, remember, it was Kibaki and Uhuru, which were from the central central region, and you see in the end they voted for Kibaki. In the same way, because they felt who is Uhuru, same way right now we are feeling who is Gideon, so the favor right now is in Ruto. So everybody knows and everybody is thinking about 2022 elections. No leader is going to see Ruto right now to talk about development. That's the second fiddle.
All right, now let's make this a bit fun. We would like to talk about one leader who goes by the name of Kalonzo Musyoka. People are claiming that he's losing grip in terms of the Kamba community and also in NASA. So we'd like to understand from the Jubilee side, what do you guys think is going to be Kalonzo's fate come 2022?
Kalonzo politics has been revolving around clinching of a community only. And remember, Kalonzo has been a statement in a way. You've never seen him in any bad records, but you know, by the name Watermelon. Remember being a vice president during his time of regime with Kibaki and the likes, and up to now. There's a reason why you could not even find him on January 30th, during the unceremonials, presidential
swearing in. Yeah.
Believe me, true. Someone like Kalonzo is what you call a pivotal in politics from the eastern side. Even if you have the likes of the current Machakos governor, Mutua, you cannot negate Kalonzo Musyoka. That goes with the saying that
but people are saying that all the attention is kind of shifting to the other Kamba leaders.
Who are these Kamba leaders who are now being shifted to? Where is Mudama, the APRO? That's the question. Yes.
All right.
That's the point. Ask yourself. In fact, the only fearless person who was actually in Kamba land was Mudama. Mudama is silently now down. We don't know what he's planning for 2022.
I see. So he's somewhere.
That's the same way. Let me tell you, Kamba politics is always one of the fanatic points. And believe me, 2022, and mark these words, is that Kamba will play some pivotal role because one thing, already now in NASA, it was separated between the three communities.
Yes.
Kamba, Luo community, and the Western. But now, one of the places that is not even doing a lot of politics is Kamba. And still waters run
deep.
That is the point.
What do you think, Anita?
I think his son, who was nominated to the IALA, is sort of stepping in, but at a very slow rate. Because right now he's also in the grassroots, being that he had an educational background, being abroad for a long time. Now he has the opportunity to be in the East African community. And once you taste power, once a politician, always a politician. I feel like he will or he should mentor his son to continue with the mantle and leave the fight to the likes of Alfred Mutua and Wavinya Ndeti, because they're really coming out strong. Let him retire.
Maybe I can say one thing about that, the issue of, I was trying to escape that point. We need to be sure of one thing. Is Raila all or not all? Is all enough, right?
Yes.
He had, rest in peace, Fidel Odinga. One thing in Kenyan politics, nobody will not say, first of all, there's what call a takeover. It was, our current president is the son of our former president, the first founding father, right? But it took how many ages?
That's true.
Yes. One thing, is like now saying again, the son of William Ruto will come and take over after his father.
But I'm looking, Brian, I'm looking at history, and history always repeats itself. That's why we are talking about Gideon Moi. That's why Mutula Kilonzo, we are talking about Mutula Kilonzo Jr. I mean, these are the realities of this country. Unless we have a hustler like Ruto who penetrates
In fact, we've answered your question. Nowadays, that's why I was saying politics is dynamic. If you say that, you've talked about Kalonzo. He's called who? The son of Kalonzo. Is it Peter? The son of Kalonzo being at Yala is now being introduced to the politics.
Yes.
Being introduced to the politics, his grip is still at Lopez.
Yeah, of course.
Wait, before we move away from Gideon Moi, there's something I almost forgot to ask about that I really wanted to hear your opinion on. There's this, like the cast of the vice presidency. They say that once you're a vice president, it becomes very difficult for you to become a president. So there's this issue between Ruto and Gideon Moi because people are saying that Ruto might not because of that cast. Do you believe there's a cast in the vice presidency seat?
I believe in history, and as I told you, history repeats itself. No, it's factual. History repeats itself. In fact, apart from Gideon Moi and Ruto, I'm also looking at a third person who I don't know, but there is a third person who will come and will shake this country, and it's not these two guys. Yes, there's a revolution and it's coming.
All right, sawa basi. But anyway, it's about time we conclude this segment.
Yes.
Thank you so much for coming, you guys. You have been watching Youth and Politics. I'm Hilda Wadidi. Do not touch that dial. Valentine is coming through with Man Crush Mondays.